Hello, and welcome to episode 4 of CGN Live. My name is Taylor Mitchell of Taylor Talks Comics. I can see James is in the chat. How you doing, James? So today is going to be a special episode. Normally here on CGN Live. By the way, please like and subscribe and do all those things too. This is a kind of a new endeavor over at Cheap Graphic Novels. This is this YouTube channel, and lately, the last 3 episodes, I guess, or is this episode? Who knows? The last few episodes, so we've been going over the weekly releases for the upcoming week. Today's a special episode though because we are going to be going over the March 2023 pre-order catalog. So last year, Cheap Graphic Novels, we began offering pre-order options for books so that you can plan ahead and order these books in advance and make sure that you guarantee your spot, if you will, to owning this book, guaranteeing that it'll take up a spot on your shelf. And there are quite a few. Sorry, I'm trying to get my second screen going here. There are quite a few books to go over, so I'm going to try to go through those rather quickly. But yeah, like I said, this is a new endeavor, new effort for Cheap Graphic Novels, so please share this with all your friends, all your comic book loving friends, and let them know what we're doing over here at Cheap Graphic Novels and that we're trying to build this YouTube channel. And thank you to everybody that has subscribed. We've gone from, I think we're up to 71 subscribers now, but we had 0 just like a couple weeks ago. So we are building a channel. It is growing. Hopefully that will only continue into the future. So the March pre-order catalog, let me get it going here, is hold on, that's not the way I want it. There we go. Okay. Or for books that are coming out later this year, some in May, some July, some June, I think August even. And as I go over these today, you'll be able to see the dates that they're expected to come out. Obviously, those are always subject to change. And we'll keep you, if you ever want to know, like if you pre-ordered a book, for instance, and you're trying to figure out why it hasn't been shipped yet, be sure to go back on the Cheap Graphic Novels website because dates could have changed, and that could be why. But Max over at CGN always keeps those dates updated. So if like for instance, if Marvel pushes back an omnibus for a later release, Max will change that date on the website, so you can just go to the book that you pre-ordered, check out the date, and find out, oh, that's why it's been delayed. So I am going to now share my screen. Yes, this one. All right, let me make sure that looks all right on my second camera here. Make sure you guys can see that okay. Nope, not that one. I like it to be like this so that you guys can see the books better. There we go. And if you're in the chat, thank you so much for joining us live. Go ahead and jump in the chat. Let us, if you have any questions whatsoever, I'll do my best to answer those. And Max is usually just a text message or a phone call away if it's something more immediate. But if it's something that I can answer, then obviously I'll answer that. Let me know what books you're excited about too, which ones, if there's like different covers for books, let me know which one you're going to get. Let's talk comics today. But let's start going through these. So if you just go to the main website, I guess I should show you this. So if you go to cheapgraphicnovels.com, this is what our front page looks like. You'll see this tab up here that says March pre-order catalog, and then it'll scroll through like Black Friday sales live. We still have books there from the Black Friday sale. The Nick and Dent sale is live still as well. Those are some books that have like some damage to them, if any at all, and you can order those for bigger discounts. But then you click on March catalog, and this is where we are now. Let's begin. The first book we have on the list is 20% off over at CGN. You can save $65 off of it. This is the Joe Jusko's Art of the 1992 Marvel Masterpieces hardcover, and this is the signed edition. So you'll see in a little bit later, there's a unsigned edition, but this one's actually signed and it has a different cover. It's like a limited edition cover. I think they said those are limited to, does it say how many? Yeah, 575 copies. So definitely this is going to be something you want to pre-order because usually these books that are especially that limited at 575, um, you are not going to have great chances of getting them if you're trying to order it the day it comes out. So I definitely pre-order this if this is something on your wish list. But this is like the Joe Jusko, the 1992 Marvel masterpieces were the cards, like the trading cards that Joe Jusko painted, and I think there's over 104. Yeah, 104 paintings of the Marvel superheroes that he produced for the cards. And this book is oversized, so it's 8.5 by 11, I believe. I'll look at the dimensions. So you're going to see these cards at much larger size than you've ever seen them. Let me know in the chat too if my audio sounds okay. I want to make sure you guys can hear me. But so you can see the cards at much larger size too, which is always nice. And then it includes some concept art and some sketches and pencils that Joe did, like process kind of stuff for how he made it. But it's like a 300-page book and it's oversized, so it's really cool. Next one, we have another signed edition. This is Elvira and Horrorland. This is a newer series that came out, and this is signed by Elvira. I don't think, does it say how many this is limited to? No, it just collects Elvira Horrorland 1 through 5, where she meets Vincent Price, Betty Page on Unbound. I think this is like a, someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is like a sort of autobio comic, obviously with some fictional things in there, but I think it does tell kind of the story of Elvira meeting Vincent Price, which was one of her heroes, but it's like a horror comic kind of thing. So this is a signed edition, signed by Elvira herself, I believe. Yep, signed by the Mistress of Darkness herself, Elvira. So that one is priced at $159.99, which is $40 off the cover price, 20% savings there over at Cheap Graphic Novels. But there is an unsigned edition too, we'll see later for this book as well. Up next, we have the two different covers for The Savage Sword of Conan, the original comics omnibus, volume 2. So these are these are coming out August 29th is what they're slated for right now. And these are the Titan Comics releases. These are $104.99 over at Cheap Graphic Novels, which is a 30% savings off of their $150 cover price. I will pull up the covers here. Let me see if this, okay. Still trying to make sure that my second screen is working. This is the direct market cover, and you're not familiar, then the direct market variant covers are exclusive to comic book shops like Cheap Graphic Novels. You won't be able to order this from your normal bookstores, such as like Amazon or Barnes & Noble or anything. So this cover, and anytime you see DM cover, it's going to be exclusive to comic book shops like Cheap Graphic Novels. And this is the Norm cover for volume 2 of Savage Sword. And Savage Sword is the black and white magazines. So back in the 70s, Marvel was doing a bunch of magazines because and it includes more adult material, it's more mature themes. You might see some like more violence and nudity and those kinds of things. Because on the magazine rack, there weren't the limitations that the Comics Code Authority would have. On the magazine rack, you could pretty much do whatever you wanted. But the comic books that were like comic book trim size that came out, in comic book shops or on the spinner rack, those had to be barred by the Comics Code Authority, and they were very much limited for what you could and could not do. So these are the black and white magazines. This has been previously released by Marvel, but it's long out of print. And now Titan's got the license for Heroic Signatures, which is what Conan is. The Heroic Signatures is the owners of the Conan license, I should say. So they are now publishing through Titan Comics these same comic books that Marvel. It's supposed to be the same trim size as the Marvel Omnibus. The spines will match your Marvel Omnibuses too. So if you have like the Savage Sword of Conan omnibuses from Marvel and you're missing a few volumes, they'll look nice on the shelf still. They're really trying to make an effort to do that. This is the standard cover for the same volume 2 of Savage Sword. Also the same price, 104. Next, we have the Batman One Bad Day hardcover complete box set. So this, excuse me, this is the new series that's been coming out lately in comic book shops, and I think there's still some more volumes to be released. Oh, let me get to the. We have Andy Gary says, definitely picking up volumes 1 and 2 of the Savage Sword. Missed out on the Marvel books. I do want to try these out. I've never read the. I have read the original Marvel comics, like the colored comics of Conan, and I like those a lot. But I've never read Savage Sword, and I do love black and white art, and I do love like those old classic 70s comics, magazine comics. So I do want to try that out. Batman One Bad Day is a new series that they've done, but it's based off of the same premise as The Killing Joke. So The Killing Joke, if you've not read it, was the Alan Moore, Brian Boland story where Joker was trying to prove that everyone in the world is just one bad day away from being as crazy and psychotic as him. So in that story, he does everything he can to prove that Commissioner Gordon, like the, perfect statesman of morality, he could be one bad day away from turning crazy. And that's what that whole story is about. So these are subsequent stories and each one's based off a different villain, kind of with that same premise. A little bit of an origin story, maybe a little bit of that same premise of trying to, their one bad day that made them turn into their evil villainous selves, like, if you will. There's one for Mr. Freeze, there's one for Bane, there's one for Ra's al Ghul, Two-Face, Penguin, Riddler, Poison Ivy, I believe. But they're all, so this will be collect them all in hardcovers, the complete box set. And it also collects a new edition of The Killing Joke. And it doesn't say it here, but I have heard that that version of Killing Joke will have the original coloring. Don't quote me on that. If someone does know for sure, definitely put that in the chat. But I have heard that. If you're familiar with the Absolute Edition, it has both versions, the new coloring and the old coloring. But this is a nice box set. And all of these volumes, you'll see some of them here today in the catalog, are being released separately as well as a hardcover, if you're more interested in just picking up a few of them and not the whole box set. But that is priced at $159.99 cover price. But at CGN, you get it for 40% off, save $64, and it is only $95.99. This is a big one. Lots of people are excited about this one. So this is Green Lantern Corps by Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason, Volume 1. This is cover price of $150, but at CGN you can get it for $89.99. If you're not super familiar with this, you could the listing there is incorrect. I'll talk to Max about that. That has the listing for Human Target. That's not accurate. But regardless, this is volume 1. There will be a volume 2. We don't know when, hasn't been solicited yet. But this is the run of Green Lantern Corps that takes place at the same time as Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run. So if you're familiar with Jeff Johns, the omnibuses, there's 3 Jeff John Green Lantern omnibuses. And then there's also the Brightest Day and Blackest Night omnibuses as well. So if you're trying to collect all of them, this would be like the 6th one, if you will. But the 3 Jeff Johns omnibuses do collect the main story of Brightest Day and Blackest Night. So if you just want those 3 omnibuses in this, you can get that. But this takes place running concurrently with those 3 main omnibuses. And it's a highly touted run. Everyone's excited about this omnibus. They've been waiting for it for years. So make sure you jump on that pre-order if it's something that you definitely, if you liked Jeff Johns' Green Lantern run, you definitely need to pick that up. Up next, we have Thor by Jason Aaron, Volume 2. And this has just 2 covers this time. Russell Dodderman is on the standard cover. And this looks to be matched up with the similar design of the first volume. This is priced at $150, but you can get it for just $89.99 at CGN. And this does include War of the Realms. So War of the Realms is the big main event that kind of it doesn't conclude Aaron's run, but all of Jason Aaron's Thor run has been building up to that. His run ends with King Thor, I believe, 1 through 4 there. But this includes the main 6 issues of the War of Realms run, as well as the Thor issues that are important for that event. So there's still that War of Realms omnibus that collects all of the tie-ins and not spin-offs, but tie-in series, miniseries. So kind of like the aforementioned Jeff Johns Green Lantern omnibus, that includes just the Blackest Night run. But if you want all the spin-offs and stuff, you can get that omnibus to pair with it. And then there's the direct market variant cover by Olivier Coipel. Same price, $89.99. Got a cover there with Thor and Jane on it, or Thor and Thor, if you will. Then we have the Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man by Nick Spencer Omnibus Volume 2. And this has 3 covers. It's got one by Ryan Ottley, one by Patrick Gleason, and one by, is that Art Adams? That'd be Art Adams, right? And one Art Adams cover. So there's 3. All the covers look great, but to me, like, this Gleason cover is so iconic. I love how this. I'm not a big CGC guy, but I love that this cover, just because of it being such an iconic image and such cool art, that it got all the speculators kind of going crazy for it. The CGN speculators, that it was, a cover that everybody was trying to collect based off just how cool the art was. That's like an iconic cover of the run. When I think of like the Nick Spencer Spider-Man run, that's kind of the image I think of. But there's also the great Ryan Ottley cover, and there's also the great Art Adams cover. These are all $89.99, which is a savings off the 40% savings off the $150 cover price. That is due out October 10th. So I guess these are stretching out all the way to October. I should have said too, the Thor Volume 2 by Jason Aaron is slated for October 3rd. Green Lantern by Tomasi and Gleason, that's slated for July 18th, as well as the One Bad Day back set. So I'm trying to make sure I get the dates in there too, because they are kind of all over the place, especially when you think of like this is just the March 2023 catalog. The dates are all kind of wackadoo. It's not just March, for instance. You're just pre-ordering them in March. Up next is the Absolute Transmetropolitan Volume 2 hardcover. This is a 2023 edition, which that just means that that's the year it's being reprinted. The issues and the contents themselves will be exactly the same as the previously released Absolute Transmetropolitan Volume 2. The only difference will be that this will say TC Black Label. I don't know if the original printing said Vertigo on them. Let me know in the chat if they did. But I'm excited about this one. I read Transmetropolitan for the first time last year. It's by Warren Ellis, and the art's largely by Derek Robertson. He does the majority of the interiors. And it does credit Rodney Ramos too. But it's like a political thriller. So much commentary, social commentary and political commentary in here. But it takes place in like the future. But everything they talk about is very much relevant to today. And it's a Gonzo science fiction. So I think of Gonzo doing his or Gonzo from Hunter S. Thompson doing some like investigative journalism, if you will. That's the main character here, Spider Jerusalem, that you see on the cover. And that's what he does. It's kind of like you have one investigative journalist try and take on the man. Oh, hey, Psycho Cleveland's in the group. Gonzo was my favorite puppet. Gonzo's awesome. Or Muppet. I'm sorry. Woo. I said puppet. Muppet. Gonzo's awesome. I love Gonzo, and I love I always loved Dr. Teeth in the Electric Mayhem. So Cycle, yes. Thanks for joining us. The topic today is the March 2023 catalog, pre-order catalog. Up next, we have the original comics omnibus for Conan the Barbarian. This is volume 2, and there are 2 covers. So the original comics are what Marvel listed as the original Marvel Comics omnibus. These are now being printed by Titan, like I said, but they're just being listed as the original comics. But these are the original Marvel comics from the 70s of Conan the Barbarian, and this is volume 2. due out August 8th for $87.49. You can pick this up. These are 30% off. What's the cover price on these? $125. Okay. So it looks like the Savage Sword of Conan cover prices are $150 and these are $125. So you have it looks like a Neil Adams cover for the first one for the Stainer cover, and the direct market variant is the John Buscema cover. Those have been long out of print, so now Titan's reprinting them, and like I said, they'll match your other Conan omnibuses on your shelf if you've been collecting the Marvel ones. So if you're trying to still piece together a whole set, you can be picking up the ones that are in print of Marvel and piece them all together, and they'll look nice. Up next, we have the Wolverine Omnibus Volume 4. We have, I think, three cover options. So we have the Mark Teixeira cover. It's the direct market variant. And then we have two standard edition covers. No? I was going to say, okay, two DM covers. Okay. Let me backtrack. So this cover here is by Mark Teixeira, and that is one of the direct market variants. This is Volume 4. This is the latter part of the Larry Hama run of Wolverine. And we have the Adam Kubert cover, which is the standard cover. And then we have the other direct market variant is by Andy Kubert. So you have both the Kubert brothers in there drawing covers for the Wolverine Volume 4 Omnibus. That is due out September 26th, and you can get it for $74.99 off Cheap Graphic Novels. Coming out that same day, with also three covers, we have Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus Volume 3. So this is this collects past issue 100. Yes, this collects all the way up to issue 111. So the first cover option here is the standard edition, and it's the cover for issue number 100 by Mark Bagley. One of the direct market variant covers is by Mark Bagley as well, and it has Moon Knight on the cover. These are all Mark Bagley covers. Okay, so the third option is your other direct market option. It's got Carnage on the cover by Mark Bagley. And all three of these are $74.99 and all coming out September 26th. This is the omnibus that will contain the record-breaking issue. So the longest running series for Marvel from one penciler, one writer previous to this, where the penciler and the writer did every single issue, no misses, no fill-ins, no anything like that. Previously was Jack Kirby and Stan Lee on the Fantastic Four. They did the first 102 issues of Fantastic Four. Mark Bagley and Brian Michael Bendis was the duo on Ultimate Spider-Man. They went all the way they went past issue number 102. I think they might have finished. Bagley left around issue 111, I think. Let me know in the comments. So I know that they passed the 102 issues though. Then on October 3rd, we have the Marvel Zomnibus Returns. So this is the sequel, I believe, to the first Marvel Omnibus. Yes. This is the second Marvel Zomnibus. And this is called Marvel Zomnibus Returns. You have a Inuk Lee cover, which is the Stainer cover, or the Greg Land cover is the direct market variant. These are both priced at $74.99, 40% off the cover price. And this is like I said, the sequel, the follow-up. The Marvel's Omnibus, they're not calling it Volume 1, but the Marvel's Omnibus, which takes place before this, is also being reprinted and coming out before this one. Then we have Terry and the Pirates Master Collection Volume 5. These are like the oversized remastered editions of Terry and the Pirates, a classic newspaper strip from Milton Caniff. And this has been a big deal for people that are into like the newspaper comic strips and stuff. These are beautiful editions. I've seen them. I kind of want them, but I haven't gone down that rabbit hole yet. But they do look very nice. And even on the shelf, they've even have like a connecting spine with the lettering, I think. But this will be $74.99, which is $25 off. And that's Volume 5. Then we have a big reprint here. We have two big reprints here. Let me see. Okay. kind of out of order here because these are all the same price. Yeah. Okay. But first, let's talk about Alpha Flight by John Byrne Omnibus, the direct market cover here by John Byrne. And he does the standard cover here, as you can see. Both priced at $74.99, both coming out October 10th. And you can pick those up. This is what issues does this collect? Let's see. Includes all the spin-offs and tie-ins from X-Men, Marvel 2-in-1, Incredible Hulk, and then that includes Alpha Flight 1 through 29, X-Men and Alpha Flight 1 through 2, X-Men and Alpha Flight 1 through 2, and material from Marvel Team Up. So it's got a lot of issues in there. This has been a reprint that people have been asking for. It's one of those X-Men adjacent titles that John Byrne went and did. He kind of had free reign to do whatever he wanted. He was doing this run, I believe, at the same time he was doing his Fantastic Four run. Kind of working on both of those subsequently. But yeah, those are the covers. Options for that. The first one's the DM you see there with the more yellowish background. And the second one there is the standard edition. Then we have a reprint, restock, reorder, if you will, of the Ultimate Spider-Man Volume 1. So if you're trying to collect the Ultimate Spider-Man omnibuses, we just talked about Volume 3 coming out. And that's the first time the Volume 3 will be coming out. If you missed out on the first volume, we have a new stock, a new printing or restock, if you will, option here for you to pick up. This comes out April 25th, so very soon, in just a couple months. So you'll be able to pick this up and read it before Volume 3 comes out for sure. And there's 3 cover options for this one. You have the Joe Quesada pinup variant here. You can see at the top of the screen there. And then let me scroll down. Then you have a Quesada cover that's like the same cover as issue 1. There's is it the standard? Let me see. The first Quesada cover is the DM. This is the standard cover. And then the other DM is the Mark Bagley cover with Venom on it, as you can see there. Those are all, like I said, coming out April 25th, priced at $74.99. You can pick those up. And then let's go to the Absolute Court of Owls. So this is the 2023 edition. Same deal as the Absolute Metropolitan. Yeah. This is just a new edition, new printing of the same Absolute Court of Owls that you know from before. And it includes the first 11 issues of that run, I believe. Yeah, it includes Batman number 1 through 11 of the Greg Capullo Scott Snyder run, which is the Court of Owls story. And that's the Absolute edition. You get that for $74.99 at Cheap Graphic Novels. And that comes out November 7th. Just recently released, we had the Invincible Compendium hardcover. Well, Volume 2 is coming out, and you can pre-order it now at CGN. That book is slated to come out May 23rd. You can pre-order that now at CGN for $69.97, which is a savings of $30.02. So it's 30% off. We have the Breaker Omnibus box set. I'm not super familiar with this. Let me know in the chat if you are, and let me know like what this is about and stuff. But this is from a Blaze Publishing, and includes 5 books. So I'm assuming the previously released omnibuses, volume 1 through 5, which are 2-in-1s. So each book contains 2 volumes, if you will. You get 10 volumes in this box set. It is all inside of 5 books. If that makes any sense. We have the Deceased trade paperback box set. This comes out July 4th. Happy birthday, America. Get that for $59.99 at CGN. And this includes all the previously released Deceased volumes. Doesn't say in the listing there, but you can see those are the same volumes that have been previously released. They're just collecting them all in a box now. So if you haven't jumped on the Deceased bandwagon, here's your chance. Then we have another John Byrne book. So this is X-Men Hidden Years Omnibus. The standard edition cover is going to be the first issue cover. the cover for the first issue of the series. The direct market variant is the other one you can see here. So the Hidden Years by John Byrne was an effort for John Byrne to revisit the X-Men in between the period of where the initial volume concluded and before Giant Size X-Men. So if you're familiar with, like, let's bring the omnibuses into example here. You have like the first two omnibuses, which are like the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby omnibus, and then like the second volume has some like Roy Thomas and Neil Adams stuff. That's like the first chunk of stories from the X-Men. And then they spent a bunch of years not being a comic book. They were just doing reprints and those kinds of things. And they brought it back with Giant Size X-Men, which is when Wolverine and Colossus and Storm and Nightcrawler were all introduced as characters into the Marvel mythos. Well, in between those 2 years, there's like a gap of what was happening. And some of these characters did appear in certain, other issues, like Iceman joined the Defenders, the Beast turned blue and furry during this time. This is kind of like John Byrne in hindsight going back and revisiting those, what he calls the hidden years. So if you're reading it like in chronological order, if you will, you'd read like those first two Silver Age X-Men omnibuses, and then you'd read this, and then you could read Uncanny X-Men Omnibus Volume 1. I'm really excited about this, though. This is like, I think he did this in the late 90s. That's when John Byrne did this series where he was revisiting that older time. Hidden Years. Yeah, it doesn't tell me when this happened. I think it was the late 90s that he was working on this. Let me know in the chat if you know. This is $59.99 for each cover. You can get this on October 3rd and pre-order it now. We have a lot of Avengers omnibuses coming out. So this is the Avengers, the 60th anniversary of the Avengers. They came out, were created as a team, put together in 1963. And on September 26th, we're getting Volume 5 for the first time. So previously, we've had Volumes 1 through 4 of the Avengers omnibuses. Those are all being reprinted. 1 through 4 are. We'll see some more of those in the catalog here. But this is Volume 5. And the first cover here is by Gil Kane. The second cover is by Rich Buckler. Rich Buckler is the direct market variant. These are only priced at $59.99. The $100 cover price, but you get them for 40% off at CGN. Like I said, these are slated to come out September 26th. Then we have the Mad Balls and Garbage Pail Kids, Heavyweights of Gross, hardcover remarked edition. So we don't have a cover on this one, but I know this is like a crossover from Dynamite. They've been doing of like, if you're a kid that grew up in the 80s or early 90s, you know who the Garbage Pail Kids are, and the Mad Balls. They're both like gross out humor properties, I guess, for kids. And this is them coming together. I'm trying to see what's exclusive about this one. Includes a sketch by series artist Jason Crosby. So that's why this one is called Remarked Edition. And it's on pre-order. The regular edition is also in the catalog for cheaper. But this one, $59.99, you can pre-order it and you get a special sketch in it. And just the same thing as the other signed editions we talked about today. If this is a book you want, pre-order it now. With that, if you want this edition, pre-order it now, because I don't know if that'll be available the day it comes out, having the sketch in it, if you will. Then we have the 4th volume of Ed Brubaker's Captain America omnibuses. So this is really cool. These are all being reprinted. Volume 5 has just been announced for reprint as well. If there are 5 volumes of the Ed Brubaker Captain America omnibuses. They've never had volume numbers on them, though. They've always been kind of confusing. Like they're named like Captain America, Death of Captain America, Captain America Lives, The Trial of... They'll have like name titles too. For these new printings for Volume 4 and 5, they will have volume numbers on them, but not on the spine. So if you have the first 3 volumes and you're waiting for Volume 4 or 5, don't be worried about it looking weird on your shelf by the spine, because the volume number is going to be on the back of the book, kind of in the same style as what Marvel does with the Epic collections. And then eventually, when volumes 1 through 3 get reprinted, I'm sure they'll do that same thing. This first cover, though, is the direct market variant, and this is by Steve McNiffen. And then the other cover, I think, is down here. Let me find it. Yes. The other cover is by, I'm not going to be able to say the name. Jurjevich. I butchered that. I'm sorry. But those are both slated to come out September 12th. And you can pre-order those now for $59.99. Batman, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Omnibus, hardcover. This book has been in the catalog and has been canceled, I guess, and then re-put in the catalog, canceled and re-put in the catalog. We're almost certain it's going to actually come out this time. And I love the fact that this has a Kevin Eastman cover to it. Kevin Eastman is one half of the duo of Peter Laird and Kevin Eastman that created the Turtles. And it's done in like the classic TMNT style, but with Batman involved. I love that cover. I can't wait to have this. This is priced at $59.99. You can pre-order it now, and it includes the first 3 volumes, which I think are the only 3 volumes of stories that they did for this run in conjunction with IDW. This is written by James Tynion IV as well, and the main artist on the interiors is Freddie E. Williams II. James Tynion, though, would go on after this to write Detective Comics and Batman. So this is kind of his precursor to that, I believe. I don't think maybe he was doing Detective at the same time, but either way, I'm excited for that one. We have a question in the chat here by Sandwichism. I've never read a Marvel book. What would you recommend? Well, Sandwichism. I always like to recommend Silver Age Marvel to people if you're wanting to learn the characters for the first time, and if you're not too scared from having lots of dialogue and whatnot. So for you, I would recommend maybe Amazing Spider-Man by Steve Ditko, dialogued by Stan Lee. Or if you want a more modern run, maybe go with let's see, what would be a good modern run to start off with Marvel? If you're going to pick out something that you've seen on the big screen, if you like a bigger Ultimate Spider-Man, there we go. Ultimate Spider-Man Omnibus, I would recommend that too if you're wanting a more modern book. So either Amazing Spider-Man by Ditko or Ultimate Spider-Man by Bagley and Bendis. There's my answer. Yeah, feel free to ask questions in the chat. Thank you, Sandwichism, for that. We have Avengers Volume 4. So this is a reprint. Like I said, they're reprinting volumes 1 through 4. So that volume 5 is brand new, but 1 through 4 being reprinted. The DM, which one's it? The DM cover is by Neil Adams. The standard edition is by Arthur Adams. The 2 greatest Adams to Droll Comics, Neil and Arthur, no relation. But this includes the Kree Skrull War, I believe. Is that right? The Steve Englehart run. Yep, with Neil Adams. So this has the famous Kree Skrull War included in it, as well as the Avengers Defenders War. Is that right? Yeah, they're both in that volume. That is a great volume. So you have this Kree Skrull War and then the Avengers run. Avengers Defenders War. 2 wars involving the Avengers, but they're both great stories. That is a great volume. I didn't realize they're both packed in the same volume. So I highly recommend that. That gets my stamp of approval. We have volume 3 here with the direct market is by, I want to say that's John Buscema, and not Sal. Let me know in the chat. I think that's a John Buscema cover for the direct market there. But they both worked on the book, both John and Sal. Already went over that Captain America book. Is the other cover in here? No? Oh, okay. I don't know what the other cover is for volume 3, but available for pre-order. That's due to come out September 12th. So we have volume 3 coming out September 12th, volume 4 is coming out September 19th, and then we had volume 5 coming out September 26th. So inside of that same month, we have 3 Avengers omnibuses coming out, volumes 3, 4, and 5. 3, 4, and 5. Pretty cool. Then we have Fantastic Paintings of Frazetta, hardcover deluxe slipcase edition. So I asked Max too, if you go on this catalog and you see something that says out of stock there instead of the pre-order button that you see here, that just means that it's not available for pre-order as of now. if you want it to be pre-ordered, like if this, for instance, this fantastic paintings of Frazetta hardcover deluxe slipcase edition is something that you want to pre-order through CGN, just shoot an email to Max, which is contact@cheapgraphicnovels.com, and you can just tell him you want to pre-order this, and he will fix that for you. He just doesn't have every single book up for pre-order. Then we have volumes 27 and 28 of the Phantom Complete Dailies. These are the newspaper strips. Those are both at $47.99. Volume 27 is coming out May 30th. Volume 28 is coming out June 27th. Then here's the Joe Jusko Art of Marvel Masterpieces from 1992. This is the not signed edition, and it has a different cover. So the signed edition came with the cover with Silver Surfer on it. This one comes with the Hulk on it, and it's not signed, but it's only $47.20 at CGN. So if you're not into like signatures and those kinds of things, maybe you go this route. We have the X-Men Sins of Sinister hardcover. This is the Hoxpox era of X-Men, and this is a oversized hardcover, and includes Sins of Sinister #1, Immoral X-Men 1 through 3, Storm and the Brotherhood of Mutants 1 through 3, Nightcrawlers 1 through 3, and Sins of Sinister Dominion 1. So it's the Sins of Sinister storyline, all collected in one oversized hardcover. Then we have the 2 covers available for Marvel Masterworks Mighty Thor Volume 22. This is due out September 19th, and you get this for $44.99 at CGN. You have the standard edition hardcover, which is the silver edition, or this blue edition, which is the direct market variant. We also have the Marvel Remasterworks Fantastic Four Volume 2. This is due out October 10th, and it is also $44.99. These Remasterworks are Marvel's way of reprinting the older Masterworks, which have been long out of print, but they're doing it in a way that is, I guess they're remastering all the artwork. So this is going to be the best presentation these stories have ever had, being printed by Marvel. So that's what the Remasterworks means, if you see that. Same deal for Spider-Man. We have the Amazing Spider-Man Volume 2. This is due out September 12th. It's also $44.99. These are the Remasterworks. Those. Dragon Age, The World of Thetis box set. This is from Dark Horse Comics. And includes volumes 1 and 2 of The World of Thetis Dragon Age. We have the Dice Man Collected Complete Edition. This is $39.99 from 2000 AD. It's due out May 23rd, and it's the legendary 2000 AD role-playing game. So that's something you're into. The cover looks really cool. We have the Incorruptible by Mark Waid complete trade paperback. This is the first time this has been printed, I believe. Let me check. Because they've had Irredeemable, and what was the other one called? It started with an I. Incorruptible, and Irredeemable, and Indisputable. No, I don't know what the other one was. I forget, though. But it takes place in the Irredeemable universe. This is like a big trade paperback omnibus kind of thing. I don't think they're listed as omnibuses, but it includes Incorruptible 1 through 30, and then 2 issues of Irredeemable to pair with it. We have the Unwritten Compendium. This is by, I believe, the same team that did Lucifer for DC Comics, Mike Carey and Peter Gross. And this is volume 1, and it collects issues 1 through 30. We have the Marvel Studios Werewolf by Night Art of the Special hardcover. These are like those landscape format books that collect a lot of behind the scenes of all the MCU properties. This one is obviously for Werewolf at Night, but includes like concept art, storyboards, behind the scene pictures, interviews, those kinds of things. This is one I'm kind of interested in because I really loved the Werewolf by Night special, and I think the artwork itself would be fun to look at with that. This is Witchblade Volume 3 hardcover by Top Cow. And then release this both in hardcover and softcover. You'll see the soft cover later. The hardcover's due out May 30th. You can get it for $34.99 off CGN. We have the Penguin Classics Marvel Collection of the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and X-Men. They previously released 3 volumes. It seems like they're doing 3 volumes at a time. The first 3 volumes they did was Amazing Spider-Man, Captain America, and Black Panther. And they released these in hardcover or softcover options. Covers look totally different. These are the hardcover options. They look really nice. But these are kind of like a greatest hits of the early years. Psycho Cleveland said he's just not reading a Marvel book. Got some hot takes here in the chat. So these collect like the greatest hits of like the early years. So you can see in the listing here. Oh, maybe I should pull it up on the screen you're looking at there. I'm gonna pull up Fantastic Four because it's the best. We have Fantastic Four issues 1 through 5, 10, 11, 48, 49, 50, and 51. And then Fantastic Four annual number 6. That's an interesting choice, the number 6 in there, because that's much later than this. But 1 through 5 are obviously the first 5 issues. Then we have 10, 11, and then 48 through 50 is the Behold the Galactus trilogy. And 51 is This Man, This Monster, which are those last 4 super iconic issues. So you get the early issues and then like the first iconic trilogy of Marvel, if you will, or 3-issue, not crossover, but 3-issue run. We have the X-Men, Avengers, there's other options. Next book is Mystic Debris. This is from Fantagraphics Underground, their FU imprint. This is a hardcover, and it is $31.99. It's available, or this will be coming out May 30th. And the Fantagraphics Underground books are usually small print runs. So if this is something that catches your eye, you might want to pre-order this because they don't always reprint these as well. This is Justin Gradden's book. He does the art and writing. It's his debut graphic novel. And it's a cast of quixotics exist in a comics continuum with Gary Panter's Jimbo, Mark Byers, Amy and Jordan, and Mark Bell's Shrimpy and Paul. Whizbang is a metalhead whose band, Fascinator, has left him for stardom. This looks really cool, and I've seen the interiors. You can find them on fantagraphics.com. I'm definitely gonna pick this up because it's caught my eye. All right, Cycle Cleveland saying some stuff in the chat. I will get to that in just a moment. Cycle, don't worry. This is the Mad Balls versus Garbage Pail Kids, Heavyweights of Gross. Oh, this is a signed edition. So you have the sketched edition we saw previously. This is the signed edition for $31.99. Both those, like I said, any sort of like signed or sketched edition, I would pre-order. I don't think this will be available day of that those books come out. If that's something you want, I would pre-order this. It's $31.99, due out June 6th. We have New Mutants Epic Collection Asgardian Wars. This is, let me see. Which issues does this collect? Collects New Mutants 32 through 44. Okay, so I think this is volume 3 of the New Mutants Epic Collections. It takes place after volume 2, which has the... Yes, volume 1 is like the Bob McLeod stuff. Volume 2 is the Bill Sienkiewicz material with Chris Claremont, which is amazing. Some of the best comics Marvel's ever produced. And this is volume 3. It takes place after that. Chris Claremont's still on the writing duties, but we have like Steve Leialoha on art duties, and includes the Asgardian Wars story. That is $29.99, due out June 20th. Then there's some more books that are not up for pre-order yet, but if you want them, email Max. This is the Super Spy Superb hardcover. This is awesome. So if you're familiar with the Super Spy universe that Matt Kent has created, they just released that awesome hardcover through Matt Kent's imprint with Dark Horse. And this is a continuation of that, if you will. And I love the pitch for this. It's John Wick meets Wes Anderson in this mystery thriller. The idea of John Wick being in a Wes Anderson movie sounds amazing to me, and I can't wait to read this. But it's not just a normal hardcover. Matt Kent does like beautiful book design, and this is going to be in line with those, but includes 1 through 3 and a brand new cover art in a deluxe hardcover format with gold embossed foil, a ribbon marker, and craft like paper dust jacket that hides the book in plain sight. Um, I know issue 1 came out and it had like a Trader Joe's brown paper bag cover, but you just saw like this the trader part. So it's kind of like a double entendre, if you will. Trader, you think Super Spies is a trader in the midst here. So I think the hardcover will look really sweet. But this is 30% off. You get it for $27.99, and it's due out July 25th. And we're getting the Lazarus hardcover reprints. I think are all 3 of them on here. Oh, the other one's a cheaper price, so we'll see it later. Because Volume 1 didn't have as many issues and was a lower cover price. But these are Volume 3 and Volume 2. These are reprints of the great Michael Lark and Greg Rucka series. I can't wait to read these. This will be my first time reading these. I'm definitely picking these up. But I heard like it's just like science fiction and espionage, and the world building is insane. I can't wait to pick these up. So Volume 3, they're both due out the same day. Okay, Volume 2 and 3 are both coming out June 27th, and both priced at $27.99 at CGN. We have Wolverine Epic Collection To the Bone. I don't know what volume this is, but I know it's a later volume. Oh, it includes the Nick Fury Scorpion Rising story. They had the awesome Howard Chaykin art, but it includes Wolverine 76 through 86. Oh, perfect moment here. So we just previously talked about the Wolverine Volume 4 Omnibus. That takes you up to issue 75. This starts off with issue 76 through 86. So if you're trying to read the next part of the story, this is for you. This is Larry Hama stuff in here. Includes Cable number 16, Evolution, and then the Ghost Rider, Wolverine, Punisher, The Dark Design. So that's the Wolverine Epic Collection To the Bone. You get it for $26.99, due out June 13th. Then we have Star Wars Epic Collection Tales of the Jedi Volume 3. That's July 11th is the due date for that, or estimated arrival date. Get that for $26.99. Then we have Deadpool Epic Collection Dead Reckoning. This is Joe Kelly's classic storyline concludes. And that is coming out on America's birthday, July 4th, for $26.99. Then we have a reprint of Punisher Epic Collection Circle of Blood. That is a reprint. So yeah, I said reprint, new printing. And I know Omar from Near Mint Condition always recommends that if you're wanting an Epic Collection that's being reprinted, they come in smaller print runs when they reprint these things. So you might want to pick that up. Pre-order it now would be the safest option, or pick that up really soon after it comes out. But I would recommend pre-ordering it, especially this one. I know the Punisher Circle of Blood Epic Collection. Personally, I've been wanting this. I missed out on it the first time, and it goes for crazy prices on the aftermarket right now. CGN has it for $26.99 pre-order, and it comes out June 13th. Same deal for this one. This is a new printing of Touch of Typhoid, which takes place in the Anna Cinti JRJR run, correct? Yes. This is part of the Anna Cinti JRJR run from Daredevil, which is awesome. It's called Touch of Typhoid. That's a new printing. Comes out July 11th, $26.99. This is a new printing of Amazing Spider-Man Epic Collection Ghost of the Past. This is due out June 27th. It's also $26.99. We have Darkwing, Abolition of Man Deluxe Edition hardcover. This is by Carson Grubaugh of Living the Line. I talked about them on one of the episodes of CGN Live. Living the Line's like a new publisher. It's also a YouTube channel from Carson Grubaugh, and I can't remember. I always forget his co-host name. I apologize. I'll get that next time. But this is the first ever comic book done totally with AI. So obviously AI is a big hot topic in comic books and comic book art. And I understand totally if this turns you off from the idea of this comic book, but I'm kind of interested in it just because it's one of those weird, wacky comic books. Like it kind of reminds me in its gimmickry, not necessarily in its execution, but its gimmickry of like the old like computer generated comics of like the 80s, um, by Mike Sayans. I forget his name. Those he put a lot of work into doing all the imagery himself. So I'm not saying like the work output is the same, but this is Carson Gruball, totally AI in the writing and the art, I believe, and it's a deluxe edition. So I'm kind of interested at this. We have an edition of Carl Barks Library, Volume 28, Cave of Alibaba. That's not available for pre-order right now, but like I said, it's email max if you want to pre-order that. Lazarus Volume 1, here's where that one appears. That's coming out the same day as the Volumes 2 and 3. It's June 27th, and this is only $24.49. So you can pre-order all 3 volumes and have those come to your doorstep on the same day. And then Volume 4 will be announced. I think it's coming out later. It's not that one is not available for pre-order yet, but get those first 3 volumes and you'll be set and ready for it. Superman Camelot Falls, the deluxe edition. This comes out June 13th. You can get it for $23.99. Excuse me, I take a drink. I think this is Kurt Busiek. Yeah, Kurt Busiek with art by Carlos Pacheco. You can't go wrong with either of those guys. Crisis on Multiple Earths, Book 3, Countdown to Crisis. Trade paperback. This is available July 11th for $23.99. We have Batman the Night hardcover. It's a creative team on this. Chip Zdarsky and Carmine de Giandomenico. I butchered that. Yes, this includes that entire story. I think that's I can't remember. Someone let me know in the comments. That might be a Black Label book. It doesn't look like it's normal Batman continuity, but I know Chip Zdarsky is doing that, so I don't know. Life Formed, Doctor Strange by Donny Cates trade paperback. This includes the entire Donny Cates run on Doctor Strange, which was a lot of fun. I read that a couple years ago. Has great artwork by Gabriel Hernandez Volta, and it includes Doctor Strange 381 through 390, and then Doctor Strange Damnation 1 through 4, which is, I think, exactly the contents of the old oversized hardcover that came out for that, which is long out of print. This is a trade paperback that has that all in there. We have Captain America Epic Collection, The Secret Empire. This comes out June 27th. You can get it for $23.99. And that's the first printing of that one. Steel, a celebration of 30 years hardcover. So these are those celebration of X amount of years hardcovers that DC's been doing. Like the Aquaman one for 80 years just came out recently. This one is for Steel, character that came out of the Death of Superman story. And this will be first time for a lot of this material to be printed. And it's only $23.99 for a nice hardcover. Let's do some chat questions real fast because Cycle Cleveland here is talking. I don't want to ignore him. Got to read that unwritten series. I love Carrie and Gross. Hopefully, it's on the DC app. I know the DC app starting to include a lot of the old Vertigo series, but I think they're like paywalled at a certain tier. But I haven't read Lucifer, but I do want to read that because I know Carrie and Gross get a lot of a lot of hype and stuff for their Lucifer series. Then he's also saying, Taylor, you got to check out the latest Gutter Boys podcast. It's Alex Graham interview. It's great. I do want to listen to that. We talked about Alex Graham before. To clarify, I suggest not reading current Marvel, older stuff, because they can separate the wheat from the chaff. It's fair. But really, there's so much non-superhero, non-Big Two comics out there that you could spend our time reading great stuff. I agree. I think that's one thing that people miss out on is that there's so much non-superhero stuff that's great comics to be read. That people kind of the whole comic book industry is, I mean, it's held up by superhero comics, and I understand that, but sometimes people have a narrow lens of what comics can be, and it can be so much more than just superheroes. And superhero comics can be great too. There's nothing wrong with If the Marvel book comes out, it ends up being great, like King's Vision or Hickman Saga. Yeah, those are great modern runs. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of he's saying it gets exhausting following the shared universe of the big two. Yeah, that's one of the benefits of like creator-owned comic books or indie comics is that they're more isolated and succinct in their continuity, if you will. Wolverine Omnibus Volume 2, is it out of print? Let's see. See if we have it in stock over at Cheap Graphic Novels. I can't speak to whether it's in print or not. With the distributors being Diamond and Penguin Random House and stuff, it's hard to keep track. But I can tell you if we have it in stock. Volume 3 is in stock, all 3 covers. Looks like Volume 1 is out of stock. Oh, Volume 2 is in stock. There you go. Psycho Cleveland. Wolverine Volume 2 with the Jim Lee cover, the John Byrne cover. Those are both in stock currently. And the Barry Windsor Smith cover, which is the one I recommend because even though that story's not included in that book, it's included in Volume 1. That cover is just so badass. I love Barry Windsor Smith. So those are both in stock. All 3 covers. If you want to order those, Psycho Cleveland or anybody else. Volume 2 is available. Abolition of Man claims to be the first AI comic, but I don't know if that's true. Bill Sienkiewicz did an AI comic that I think have come out for what was Sienkiewicz's AI comic called? I'm interested to hear that. But yeah, that is the claim by Living the Line, is that this is the first all AI comic. If that's not true, then I mean I don't know. I was basing that off of what Carson Grubaugh tells me. Up next, let's continue on. We have Brooklyn's Last Secret trade paperback. This is due out May 2nd, and you can get it for $23.96 over at Cheap Graphic Novels. This is from Drawn and Quarterly Publishing, and it's Leslie Stein on art and story. We have Hitler by Shigeru Mizuki trade paperback. Shigeru Mizuki is the same gentleman that mangaka that did the Showa series, the Showa A History of Japan manga that Drawn and Quarterly has also printed. This is his story about Hitler, and it delves deep into the history books to create an absorbing and eloquent portrait of Hitler's life. So I'm sure you see all the trials and tribulations of what turned him into a mad man that is pure evil. But this book you can get for $23.96. It is from Drawn and Quarterly. Then we have the Meta Barons, Weapons of the Meta Barons Deluxe Edition hardcover. I did not know this was coming out until I saw this catalog, which is the great thing about this catalog is you get to see all the cool stuff coming out that you didn't even catch wind of in the solicits. So this is a continuation of the Meta Barons series, but this is a deluxe edition hardcover, and it says it's oversized. This is the first time the entire story will be in deluxe oversized for the first time. And when Humanoids does oversized books, they're beautiful. So this has the Travis Charest art. Travis Charest, his art is incredible. Unfortunately, due to his art style, he can't keep he struggles to meet deadlines, I will say. I'm trying to find a diplomatic way to say that. So Zoran Janjetev finished the art on it, but it's by Alejandro Jodorowsky, and this is Weapons of Meta Barons. I've read this and I love it. I love anything to do with the Jodoverse, if you will. But this is deluxe oversized. The dimensions of this are huge. Recently, they did the deluxe Jimenez book that's like way oversized, and they reprinted the Incal slipcase that's oversized. So if you're into the Meta Barons, I'd recommend getting this. We have Judge Dredd Complete Case Files Volume 19. They are pumping this out 2000 AD. This is Volume 19 for $23.19. Psycho Cleveland, I know you're gonna be into this, because I'm pretty sure that you've put me onto this book, so I'm going to highlight this one just for you. And this is Blood of the Virgin by Sammy Harcum, hardcover. So this is from Pantheon Books. This comes out May 2nd. You can pre-order it today at CGN for $22.49. And I haven't read Sammy Harcum's books, but I'm pretty sure Psycho Cleveland, you've mentioned them to me. These are what's his one person anthology that these take place in? Does it not say? Let me know, Cycle. I know you know it. I know you know the answer. But this is Sammy Harkham does like a one man anthology that has had this story take place throughout it, I believe. Again, correct me if you know, Cycle. But and this just takes the entire Blood of the Virgin story and it's putting it into a nice hardcover. Pantheon Books publishes beautiful books, so I recommend this if you want something that's done by one cartoonist in a story that's been getting lots of praise. You can try it out with me. I'm going to buy this. It's going to be my first Sammy Harkham story. I believe he's might have appeared in Mome or the Now anthologies or the Best American Comics anthologies. I might have seen him in, but this will be the first time I read one of his complete stories. I'm excited about that. So Blood of the Virgin. Pick that up. We have Listen Beautiful Marcia. Who's this by? What publisher? This is Fantagraphics Books. This is by Marcella Quintanilla. Is on writing and art. Writing and art. It's a gripping story about a family pushed to the brink. The English language debut was the 2022. I'm going to butcher this. Fav Dior, winner of the 2002 Ognolim Comics Festival. I can't. Oh, jeez. Ognolim though is a awesome festival in Europe. I believe it's in France. Someone correct me, but it's in Europe and it's where like the best of the best cartoonists go, and I'd love to go one day. But definitely a big deal to be winning an award at that festival. Crickets, there it is. Cycle. Yes, Crickets is the Sammy Harkham anthology that he publishes, and then the Blood of the Virgins taking place throughout that anthology. Disney One Saturday Morning Adventures hardcover from Fantagraphics Books. This is $22.49, due out May 16th. So these are the comics based on those cartoons that, I mean, I grew up on these. Anybody that grew up in the 90s remembers the Saturday morning cartoon block that had Disney's Doug, which was a lesser version of the Nickelodeon, but it was still okay. And Pepper Ann was great, and then Recess was awesome as well. Daughters of Snow and Cinders. Princess Mononoke meets Jack London in this gritty eco-feminist adventure. That sounds amazing. I love that pitch. I love when you can take a comic book and in one sentence you can pitch it in an interesting way. This is by Fantagraphics Books. Nuria Tamarit is the artist and writer. That's due out May 9th. We have Anais Nin of Sea of Lies. It's coming out June 6th. Scrolling here, we have Mother Nature, Volume 1, Direct Market Edition. Oh, wow. Hold on a second. Jamie Lee Curtis. No way. Yes, this is from Titan Comics. Jamie Lee Curtis is the writer with Russell Goodman, with Carl Stevens on art. Yes, that Jamie Lee Curtis from like Halloween and Freaky Friday is the first one that came to my mind. I don't know why. It's like probably a blasphemous. What's the True Lies is the one I was trying to think of. True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. But this is from Hollywood horror legend Jamie Lee Curtis. It's her script being adapted into a comic. And this DM edition features an exclusive Copic cover and signed tipped-in sheet from Jamie Lee Curtis. So you get an autograph of Jamie Lee Curtis if you buy or pre-order this for $20.99. That's pretty cool. It'd be like a book plate that's like loose, I think. I think she probably just signs all the book plates and then sends them off. Let's catch up on the chat before we move to page 2. And also, I have to get a drink because I'm losing my voice. Oh, people are talking about Jamie Lee Curtis. Awesome. Okay. Let's back up here. Damn, I'm waiting for the BWS cover to go out of print so I can Cycle Cleveland. Trying to look it up. Okay, so now I got mixed up. Dave McKean. Dave McKean is the one that did the first AI book. Yeah, Dave McKean, he was on the Living the Line YouTube channel. I believe that Carson Grubel interviewed him about AI art specifically. So AI art specifically. So obviously Carson Grubauer is aware of Dave McKean, so I don't know that he'd make that declaration of the first AI book. I don't know. There's something there. Yo yo from the Fonz. What's up, Fonz? It's called Prompt and takes part of the Epic of Gilgamesh and uses AI to illustrate it, so it wasn't written by AI, just drawn. So Grubauer is technically 100% right. Yes. Okay, so that's the difference. Is that Dave McKean wrote the script, if you will, for Prompt, but AI did the art. Carson Grubauer let the AI do the art and the writing. Bill Sienkiewicz just did put a okay, bad word. I was gonna say that I was surprised because I know Bill Sienkiewicz is like kind of on the hunt that um against AI art. Yes, Psycho Cleveland, who is my fellow small indie, press comic book friend here. We have very similar tastes in comics. He's putting his stamp of approval, saying, "Yeah, that Blood of the Virgin collection is a must-buy." So you heard it from Cycle, you heard it from me. Cycle Cleveland, Taylor Talks Comics, we agree. Stamp of approval. You have to pre-order that. Oh, you're a minute behind on the video. Yeah, I called you out. I knew that you were going to be stoked for that one. Trading Places. Trading Places, best Christmas movie. I'm assuming that Jamie Lee Curtis is in that movie. I have to have seen that. I don't know, but off the top of my head, that's not connecting with my brain as far as what movie that is. We have Spidey freshman year trade paperback. This includes the first 12 issues. It's $20.99. It's due out July 11th. I'm going to kind of roll through these last ones a little bit faster. Captain Marvel, the Saga of Monica Rambeau. And then we have Captain Marvel, the Saga of Carol Danvers. These are both trade paperbacks. Both coming out in June 13th and 27th, respectively. You can see there. And these saga books from Marvel are collecting like various stories of these characters. So it's like it'll collect like the origin story, and then a story a little bit later in their history, maybe an important story, and then a more modern story. So it's kind of like a introduction, if you will, to these characters. So if you have a young one or a friend that is like, hey, this Captain Marvel movie is coming out. Who's this Monica Rambeau character? I need to know more about them. Hand them the saga book. Get more people in the comics, especially ones that are people that are into the superhero movies. Hand them some comics so that we can get them into the medium because we need more comic book fans. And we have Captain Marvel by Kelly Thompson, Volume 1. This is $20.99. And this, I think it's like a thicker trade paperback than it's been previously released. Yeah, this includes 12 issues. So the previously released in these in thinner trades, this looks to be a thicker one that includes more story. Oh, okay. Screen freaked out there for a second. Witchblade, the complete Volume 3 trade paperback. So earlier we saw the hardcover. Now we're seeing the trade paperback option. This is from Top Cow, and it's $20.99. I know that Mark Silvestri's been pumping these out with Top Cow, and I love that. I love any comic book artist or writer that has older material. I love that they're putting it into print in new formats for newer readers to read. I'll always support that because I hate the fact that these like older comic books. And this, I mean, this is a '90s comic. It's not really that old, if you will, but like these older comics from like the '70s and '80s, especially the independent ones that just kind of like die off, and you can only find them in back issue bins. Always nice treasures to find, but I wish they would be reprinted so that more eyes can see them. Always in favor of more eyes reading great comics. This is the World of the Borderlands hardcover. It's a hardcover encyclopedia of the War of Borderlands video game. This is $20.99. Black Hammer, the World of Black Hammer Omnibus trade paperback. This is coming out June 6th for $20.99. These are the thicker trade paperbacks that they're coming out with. Dark Horses. If you're familiar with like the BPRD or the Hellboy Omnibus paperbacks that Dark Horse puts out, this is a similar deal, but for Black Hammer. In the World of Black Hammer are the spin-offs. We have the regular Black Hammer line omnibus coming out later. We'll see here when I scroll down. This is the first spin-off book, though, and includes 2 stories, I believe. Let's click on it and see. I forget these. I have all these in the library editions. If you're into trade paperbacks, these are definitely about to go. This includes the Sherlock Frankenstein and Legion of Evil story, as well as the Doctor Andromeda story. So those are both like six issue runs. So this omnibus collects 12 issues. It's like a nice thick trade. You get it for $20.99 at Cheap Graphic Novels, and it's due out June 6th. We have Oh My Goodness. We have BPRD, the aforementioned, Volume 6 trade paperback. We just saw Volume 4 came out recently. They're pumping this out like one a month or one every 2 months. This is a previously released material. This takes place, I want to say Hell on Earth is the story in this one. Yeah, the Hell on Earth story. So this has been previously released as an omnibus, a Hell on Earth omnibus, as well as a hardcover. And this is like the new branding, if you will, of BPRD. That's why it's a volume 6 now. Previously, there was like the 4 Plague of Frogs, and then there's a 4 Hell on Earth BPRD omnibuses. They're just rebranding it to have an entire line of just BPRD. We have the Black Hammer Omnibus Volume 2. This is the continuing the main story continuity of Black Hammer, not the spinoff, like the main story. And this is the Volume 2 version. If you want to know if any of these previous volumes too are in stock on Cheap Graphic Novels, put that in the chat. I can look them up. No problem at all. Like, for instance, if you want to know if the Black Hammer Omnibus Volume 1 is in stock, I will look that up for you. But this is due out on July 4th, and it's $20.99. We have Abe Sapien, The Drowning, and Other Stories. That's $20.99. That's coming out July 18th. That is also in the world of Hellboy. The Avengers versus X-Men trade paperback. So we had the omnibus recently come out, and the omnibus was like 1,600 pages. If that is too much comics for you to handle at one time, this includes the 14 issues of the main story, and just a trade paperback. Nice and concise, easy to handle. And that is due out June 27th. That's not coming, or not for pre-order. We have Incal the Dying Star. So Alejandro Jodorowsky has given his blessing for other people to make comics within the Incal universe. So far, the only one that's been released is the Mark Russell. I forget the artist. Someone let me know who the artist was for the Incal. Before the Incal. What's it called? I'm just going to look it up because I'm butchering this. But I know Mark Russell did the story. It was like the first time that another writer did an Incal universe story. That wasn't Alejandro Jodorowsky. I'm just gonna look up Incal. See if it's been in stock. I can let you know. Psychoverse. There it is. So let me. Incal Psychoverse. Yannick Paquette is the artist, and Mark Russell was the writer. And we do have that in stock for $19.99. Let me go ahead and share that screen, and you can see. There it is. Incal Psychoverse is the first one that came out. The first time someone else is writing Incal story that's not Jodorowsky, you get that. And then the pre-order for The Dying Star by Dan Waters. Who's doing the art on this one? John Davis Hunt. So if you want to continue the Incal story, and I love that Jodorowsky is doing that, because I say this with all things, but if you feel like that's like damning or sacrilegious, if you will, that someone else would touch Jodorowsky's original stories, then his stories still exist. You can just ignore this other stuff. But I do love that he's letting other people play in that universe. Because it might include stories that maybe aren't so good, but maybe include some really great stories. But either way, anything Incal or Meta Barons related, I'm all here for. Gurvan, A Dream of Earth, hardcover for $19.99. That's due out May 23rd. We have Let's Not Talk Anymore, softcover. This is from Drawn and Quarterly. Wing Pixon is the artist and writer on that. That is due out April 11th. You can get that for $19.96. then here are the Penguin Classics Marvel collection for X-Men, Fantastic Four, and Avengers. So you can see the covers are totally different. These are the trade paperback versions. These are all 1959 and all come out September 12th. Same thing they did with the Black Panther, Captain America, and Spider-Man ones they released, I think last year. They released all three of them on the same day in trade paperback and in hardcover. So they had 6 books coming out, if you will. 3 books with 2 different versions on the same day. They're pumping them all out here as well, if you're into those. One of the contents of like the X-Men Adventures one, I can click on that too. We have Alvar Mayer, Volume 2, Ominous Wind hardcover. That's due out May 23rd for 1919. Here's the Elvira in Horrorland hardcover that's not signed by Elvira. So if you don't want the signed version, you're not into autographs, not worried about that version, which is like the second book we covered today, you get this one for $18.73. Magic the Gathering Soul and Stone hardcover, you get that for $18.73. That's due out July 4th. Best of 2000 AD, Volume 3 trade paperback. That's $18.39. Tegan and Sarah, Volume 1, Junior High hardcover. I need to look this up. I love Tegan and Sarah, the band. This is, oh my gosh, this is great. So it's by First Second Books. The writers are Tegan and Sarah Quinn, and the artist is Tilly Walden. And it looks like follows their story in junior high. Indie pop duo Tegan and Sarah take the world by storm. They were identical twins trying to find their place at a new home, new school. Yeah, so this is like their autobiography, if you will, but done by Tilly Walden. That's awesome. I love Tegan and Sarah. Great band. Great band. So I will be picking that up for sure. That's $18.39, 20% off. It comes out May 30th. That's an interesting release, especially that they got Tilly Walden on it. We have a Swamp Thing Green Hell hardcover. This is Jeff Lemire wrote it. Who did the art? Was it Doug Mankey? Doug Mankey did the art. And it collects the entire miniseries. And this is a hardcover, and it's in like that magazine format. It's kind of more squarish bound, if you will. Not square bound, if you're familiar with the printing method of square bound comics, but like squarish as in the shape. That comes out July 11th, and it's a hardcover. Oh, no? Okay, sorry. I saw something else on there. Human Target Volume 2 hardcover. This is the continuation in the last volume of the Human Target story by Greg Smallwood. Okay, I was going to say that, but I thought that was wrong. Greg Smallwood and Tom King. This story's been like, I can't wait to get this. I saw it I seen it in the comic book shop, and the artwork and the covers and everything just look like amazing by Greg Smallwood. So I'm stoked to pick that up. And I do love me some Tom King comics. Batman versus Robin hardcover. This comes out June 27th. You get it for $17.99. Who's this by? Mark Waid. Ooh, and Maham Assar and Scott Godlewski. I butcher names. I apologize for that. That includes the entire series, it looks like. Then we have Hulk, the first 60 years. This is like an encyclopedia of sorts, it looks like, from Titan Comics. I don't think it includes any comic book issues per se. Explores the comic book history. Yeah, it's like an encyclopedia of sorts. And just talking about this first 60 years of Hulk. It has like that altered Steranko cover on the cover, which is the Steranko cover is great. This is due out June 27th, and it's $17.49. 20th Century Men from Image, Prison Walker, Creepy Archives Volume 2. I'm so excited for these. I missed out on the hardcovers of these, so now Dark Horse is doing trade paperbacks. And these were, like I talked about earlier, with the Savage Sword of Conan, black and white magazines. These are like the Creepy and Eerie were like the black and white horror magazines from Warren Publishing. And Dark Horse has reprinted them in hardcovers, but those are long out of print. Now they're doing them in trade paperbacks, and they're very affordable. This one's only priced at $17.49. This is Volume 2. Volume 1 comes out, I think they're doing one a month, is what it looks like the release schedule is going to be. So like 1 month you get Eerie, next month you get Creepy, and back and forth. But this has art from Archie Goodwin, Frank Frazetta, Alex Toth, Gray Morrow, Reed Crandall, John Severin, like so many great artists, and it's in black and white, and it's going to look fantastic. I can't wait to read these. We have Castle Full of Blackbirds hardcover. This is written by Mike Mignola, and it takes place in the Hellboy universe. This is a hardcover. Then we have Skinner, Masquerade Volume 1 hardcover. This one is written by Kevin Smith. So Kevin Smith is an imprint now with Dark Horse Comics. So it's written by Kevin Smith and Andy McElfresh, and the art is by John Springelmeyer. So I love that Dark Horse is doing this too. They have all these different artists coming in and having their own imprint with Dark Horse. So like Bendis has one, Kevin Smith has one, Matt Kent has one now, Stan Sakai, and I can't think of any others. I think there might be another one. But they have their own imprint with Dark Horse to where they get to do their own little releases of the books. And they could be in the same universe if they want or whatever. So Kevin Smith's been releasing Tales of the Quick Stop, like Clerks comics. But then this is a whole different series. This is Clicks, the entire 4-issue miniseries. And the premise is funny too. It's a provocative social media star and shock TV sensation has one of the most recognizable faces in the world. So she can't capture and kill the butchers who murdered her little brother. So think of like a TikTok celebrity, because everyone's famous on TikTok these days, going wild because her little brother gets murdered. We have Knee Deep, Book 1, Blink. We have Never Ending Party. These are not available for pre-order unless you want them. You can email Max. Trying to see if there's any more. Oh, here's another one. Suicide Squad, Get Joker trade paperback. So this, I believe, is the magazine format. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong on that. But this is by Brian Azzarello and Alex Maleev on the art. And the premise of this is exciting because it's Amanda Waller of Suicide Squad fame enlists Robin, Jason Todd, to go and kill the Joker. So Jason Todd obviously was murdered and killed by the Joker in the Death in the Family story. This is him getting his comeuppance and revenge. He's going after the Joker. But the Joker eventually takes over the Suicide Squad. Seems like chaos, but it is called Suicide Squad, Get Joker 1 through 3. Just the Alex Maleev art will be fun to look at, and then that premise is interesting to me. Then, let me see. We have Punchline, the Gotham game hardcover, $14.99. We have Joker presents a puzzle box trade paperback for $14.99. Comes out in July. Flash Rebirth, AC Mech hardcover. Batman Gotham Knights Gilded City hardcover is also out in July. We have Salome's Last Dance hardcover. This is a psychedelic crime fantasy graphic novella. This is from Fantagraphics Books. And in the artwork on this looks really cool. I was looking at this on their website the other day. It's by Daria Tesler. I think this is her debut with Fantagraphics. She's born in Finland, Daria was, and she's a printmaker based in Portland. And then we have another Fantagraphics book here, which is Dog Book and Laser Eyes. Title of that book and then the cover are very interesting. This is also from Fantagraphics, like I said. The writer is Maria Bamford, and the artist is Scott Marvel Cassidy. It'll be interesting. Then let's see if I got any more. Okay, yeah, in the chat, tell me what books you're excited about too. We'll get to those in a second here. I'm just going to scroll through the rest of these. And then here's the Madball Garbage Pail Kids hardcover that's not signed or sketched. So there's the sketched version, the signed version. Here is the one that's just the plain old version. You can get it for just $14.99. Oh, and then Elvira and Horland is getting a trade paperback as well. So that's also getting 3 versions. You get that for $14.99. Wind Book 3 hardcover. This is from, I believe, James Tynion, right? James Tynion and Michael Dalinis. This is a series I've been wanting to read. It's gotten a lot of good praise. This is book 3. It's like a fantasy series, I believe. But then we have Gatsby graphic novel, Lovecraft Unknown, Art Brut. This is one I'm interested in. This is by the same team that does Ice Cream Man. This is by W. Maxwell Prince on writing and Martin Morazzo on art. This is an old comic they did back in the day. before Ice Cream Land, and now it's been republished in uh, single issues with updated lettering and been remastered on the art, I guess. Now they're doing a hardcover collecting it all. And this is a colorful Gonzo romp through art and art history. So it and it's a fantastically imaginative take on 60s adventure comics. So 60s adventure comics, kind of a pop art feel, sign me up. It's a premise that I am into. They have Star Wars Hyperspace Stories Volume 1. This is Dark Horse. Yes, this is Dark Horse Comics. So Dark Horse Comics has some license to do some Star Wars comics based for like all ages, I believe. So that's their first output. It looks like merry-go-round. Gru, Gods of Against Gru trade paperback. These are new Gru stories from Sergio Aragones, and I hope that, and he's been doing this at Dark Horse. I hope that Sergio Aragones releases all the old classic Gru comics with Dark Horse, because I really want to read those. EC Archives Two Fisted Tales trade paperback, Volume 1. So just what I talked about earlier with the Creepy and Eerie magazine editions, trade paperbacks that Dark Horse is doing, they're doing the same with the EC Archives. Those were previously released in hardcovers. Now they're getting these nice, affordable trade paperbacks. This one's due out July 18th for $13.99, and I highly recommend these. These are Harvey Kurtzman, and maybe my favorite Harvey Kurtzman comics, to be honest. His war comics. His war comics are great. It's Kurtzman writing them all, and then he does like all the layouts, and then the artists just draw all over the layouts. We have Wally Wood, Johnny Craig, Jack Davis, Al Feldstein, John Severin, Will Elder, and Dave Berg represented on art. Harvey Kurtzman war comics drawn by Jack Davis are my favorite war comics I've ever read. These are not like your polished, sanitized, Go Team America war comics. These are like harrowing, showing you the ugliest side of war, haunting stories. And I don't mean haunting like ghost spooky stuff. I'm saying like haunting like, holy crap, this is what these guys have to deal with when they go overseas to war. Highly recommend this, though. If you're into war comics at all, pick up Two Fisted Volume 1. That gets my stamp of approval for sure. We have Black Solstice hardcover for $13.99. Pet Peeves graphic novel. Once Upon a Time at the End of the World. This is an Image Comics, I think. Boom Studios, I'm sorry. Boom Studios released from Jason Aaron with art by Alexandre Tefinki and Nick Dragotta. This is Jason Aaron's new creator-owned story, which I've heard a lot of good things about. We have Eve, Children of the Moon, Billionaire Island, Star Trek, Witcher, Gun Honey. I'm trying to get through these, sorry. Sword of Azrael, trade paperback. This is $11.99. This is a new Sword of Azrael story, if you're familiar with the character from the Nightfall series. We have Deathstroke, Volume 1, King of the Supervillains. DC vs. Vampires All Out War, Part 1, hardcover. That's due out October 17th in time for Halloween. That's $11.99. Detective Comics Fear State trade paperback, $11.99. It's due out in June. Batman Arkham Catwoman trade paperback. This is like a best of series, I think. It collects a lot of Catwoman stories. Yeah, it includes her Tales from Batman #1 and 355. So I think it's like the earliest Catwoman stories mixed in with the what's the artist from the 90s? Jim Ballant, the Jim Ballant Catwoman series 1 through 4. It includes some Brubaker stuff too from the Brubaker era. And we have okay, Trials of X Volume 11. These are those formatted X-Men trade paperbacks that are all matchy and nice. This is Volume 11 of Trials of X. And we have the Ryan North Fantastic Four, which I'm really excited to read this series. So this is what follows the Dan Slott run, an era of Fantastic Four. It's written by Ryan North. The artist is Ivan Coella and Ivan Coella and Ivan Fiorelli. I am awful with names. Apologize to those artists. And all the covers are done by Alex Ross. But this series, I've read interviews with Ryan North and his pitch for it. I love Fantastic Four. That team in the comic is near and dear to my heart. So I love that his vision for it, if you will. I believe in. Then we have Deadpool by Alyssa Wong, Volume 1. This is the new Deadpool series. It comes out June 20th for $11.99. Oh, here's the Tegan and Sarah book in paperback for only $11.99. Let's see. Like Garbage Pail Kids and Mad Balls is getting a trade paperback as well. That book is getting 4 different options for you to buy if you're interested. We have some Batman One Bad Day hardcovers. So we talked about the box set earlier. These are the individual hardcover releases. If you're only interested in certain villains, you don't want the whole thing, or you just don't cover the box set, this is your option. These are $10.79 a piece. And we have the Ra's al Ghul one comes out July 25th. The Mr. Freeze one comes out August 15th. And the Clayface one comes out August 15th. Those are all $10.79. And then the Catwoman one comes out August 1st. Bane comes out July 18th. And those are also $10.79 hardcovers. There's a Batman I Am Batman story in a trade paperback. This is by John Ridley with Olivier Coipel on art. And it says volume 1, so it only collects the first part of that story. We're nearing the finish here, guys. I appreciate you sticking with me. So we have Unforgiven. It's a Marvel team of superhero vampires emerges from the shadows. So that is available. Then we have Thor: The Legacy of Thanos, Star Wars: Hidden Empire, Spider-Man: The Lost Hunt, Secret Invasion Mission Earth, Planet Hulk Worldbreaker. These are all like those cheaper, thin. When I say cheaper, I mean by price, not how they're constructed. But they're thinner trade paperbacks, and they're all like $10.79. Flawed, Imanon, Young Justice Targets, Dark Spaces Wildfire, Jonah and Impossible Monsters. It's an all-ages comic that gets a lot of hype. Adrian Percy's Wolverine run, Volume 5. That run's been going on for a long time. Wasp Small Worlds, Star Wars The High Republic, Star Wars Darth Vader, Murder World, Mighty Marvel Masterworks, Amazing Spider-Man Volume 4. We talked about Steve Ditko earlier. This one is called The Master Planner. And these are like the digest-sized Marvel Masterworks for kids. I mean, they're geared towards kids. But I've been picking these up for my son because I'm going to try to get him into Silver Age Marvel. And this includes, I think, the last part of Ditko's run, issues 29 through 38. So this will be the volume 4 of that series. Great stuff, and they're super affordable. I mean, you get Ditko Spider-Man comics for only $9.59, 10 issues. I mean, it can't go wrong there. Gold Goblin, Black Panther by John Ridley, Volume 3. This is John Ridley's run on Black Panther follows the Ta-Nehisi Coates run. We have Adam Beginning, Volume 6. This is by Titans Comics, their manga. This is based on Astro Boy, but it's like a retelling, reboot, if you will. It's not written by Osamu Tezuka, but it's based off of Osamu Tezuka's Astro Boy comics. Space Boy, Captain Marvel, Archie Giant Comics, Young Alfred Payne in the Butler trade paperback, Archie Modern Classics Mania, Marvelverse, Spider-Woman. These are digest size as well, but the same idea as like the Monica Rambeau book I mentioned earlier, the Saga books. These are just smaller, trim-sized, and they're only $5.99 a piece on CGN. But there's one for Spider-Woman and Spider-Gwen. That's it. We finished the whole run, guys. That's the entirety of the March 2023 catalog. Let me stop sharing my screen. Then you can see my face. All right, let's get into some chat questions. Let me know before I'm going to wrap up things here, but if you have any questions, I'll stick around. Questions, what books you're excited about from this catalog? What are the must-buy books that you would recommend anyone else buy that may be watching this stream at a later date? Let me see here. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, Cycle Cleveland said Jamie Lee Curtis is one of the stars of Trading Places. And And then Andy said it's got Dana Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. That's quite the trio. I do love me some Dana Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. Hopefully those library editions going out of print. Or if you're talking about the Black Camera ones, those are like evergreen cycle. Those aren't going out of print, I don't think. And if they do, they'll bring them back fast. Those are big time sellers for Dark Horse. And then he says he needs some original art. I haven't gone down the path of collecting original art for comics. I feel like it's a dangerous, slippery slope for me. I feel like I would get a little crazy with it, but I do want. I'm not in my library right now. I'm actually filming from a different location. The library that I filmed from with the other CGN lives. There's no wall space. It's all covered in bookshelves. But we're doing some remodeling here and stuff too, and I'm going to get my own library in a separate room that will have some wall space, I believe, so I can post some original art. But I want like one or two pieces that I really love of original art, and I think that'll be satisfactory for me. I don't know. So, yeah, I guess we'll wrap things up here. Thank you guys for watching. I know this was a longer episode. Share this with your friends. Share them with them that what's going on over at Cheap Graphic Novels, that we're doing this YouTube channel. Follow us on social media. Share that too. Cheap GN on Instagram and Twitter. And we're working on the idea of a newsletter as well, a weekly newsletter that I'll be writing myself, where I'll get some editorial and column stuff in there about comics and the comic books coming out that I want to do. I'm excited about that. I do have a journalism background, so I'm excited to be able to use that background for comics. And Real American Brian says, "Bah, I'm late." You are, but don't worry, you can watch this later. Just go to the live tab on the Cheap Graphic Novels YouTube page, and you can watch it later and see all the great comics coming out in later this year. That's available in the March 2023 catalog, and you can still comment on those videos too. I've tried to watch those comment sections on the videos on the YouTube channel to reply to any comments. I love talking about comics with anybody, so any sort of comments or whatever I will reply to, and we can talk comics all day. But yes, my name is Taylor of Taylor Talks Comics. I'm here with Cheap Graphic Novels. I appreciate you guys all joining me. Share this all with your friends so we can get some more people in the chat. I want this to be a very interactive show, and I will be here later this week. I believe we might be doing a Thursday evening show again for the Cheap Graphic Novels Live for the books coming out the following week. And then today is Monday, so the books coming out this week will be live tonight. So pay attention to social media. I'll make a post the minute that Max tells me the books are live. And you guys can go and order all the books coming out this week that we went over on the last CGN Live. If you want to know what books are coming out last CGN Live, go to the live tab and watch it. Watch it leading up to the time that they go live, and I will let you know. But thanks for joining me. See you guys later.